What if I told you that your physical body is an outward reflection of an internal battle? What if I told you that your physical body isn't just a result of your nutrition and your workouts, that it's actually so much beyond that? What if I told you that one of the greatest schemes of the enemy is to fly under the radar and attack your health and your well-being? Because as Priscilla Schreier would say, to coin her phrase, if I were the enemy, if we were to apply that to our health and fitness so that I can describe this to you for a moment, if I were the enemy, I would convince you that self-care is selfish, knowing that you can't possibly give your best unless you're at your best. If I were the enemy, I would spread a vicious lie that says you are healthy at any weight, even though the data is very clear that to the extent in which you are carrying extra weight is to the extent in which you risk disease, dis-ease that leads to disease. If I were the enemy, I would create a society that lowers the standard and normalizes being overweight, so much so that over 70% of the population is overweight. Because if you lower your standards, if you use that as a benchmark, then the enemy knows he has you. Because the enemy knows just as well as God knows, the enemy knows God's word, and he knows how God designed our body. He knows that our bodies are so intricately made that God cared so much about every single detail of how your body was created, how your mind was created, how your brain functions, that he too knows that how you care for your body and your mind, how you care for your time with God, is going to directly impact how you show up on any given day. And how you show up on any given day, of course, impacts the experience that you get to have. It impacts who you are called to be, how you show up for yourself and for those around you. And if he can fly under the radar and impact, distract, discourage, delay who you're meant to be in any given season, then he can discourage, distract what it is that you're called to do in the micro moments for yourself, for your family, for your place of business, or maybe you're building a kingdom business. And if he can distract, delay, or detour what it is you're called to do, then he can distract, delay, and detour what it is you're called to have according to God's word, because God's word calls us to live in fullness of joy and abundance. Doesn't mean life is all sunshine and rainbows, but it means that we get to have access to being able to operate life from a position of peace and power by God's work in and through us. And if he can distract you from doing all that you're called to do so that you are distracted from having all that God has you called you to have, then he can also take away from the abundance that you are called to give. Ultimately, we are called to be so that we can do in service to others in a way that honors God, so that then we can have all the promises that are true for us in God's word and then give from a position of overflow. But see, the enemy is too smart to create obvious challenges. Not that he doesn't do that too, but he will also create this tiny little distractions and disruptions to keep you just enough turned away or distracted or delayed to keep you from the greatest of your God-given potential. In fact, in the parable, when we look at walking on water, Peter walks on water and he's looking at Jesus and he's focused. And then he turns away just a little bit because that's all it takes, and he begins to sink. The reality is the enemy cannot destroy you. He cannot, because God has already won. But if he can discourage you, if he can distract you just a little bit, then he can cause you to sink. He can cause you to live less than what God has called you to. So that's why in my program, with the Becoming Kingdom Fit method, we take a holistic approach. And I'm going to begin to break this down over the next mini series. What I'm going to describe to you is the foundation that allows women to look and feel their best and actually sustain it. I'm going to share with you the 99.9%, what 99.9% of the fitness industry doesn't talk about. And if you don't know me, I'm Coach Rebecca Talbert. I have my own transformation story from 27 years ago. It dramatically changed every single aspect of my life, helped me rebuild my confidence, my self-esteem, rebuild a corporate career, went from counting dollars to groceries to building a successful six-figure business, or six-figure career, which at the time was quite a bit of money in my early 20s. all by God's work in and through me, because he showed me how to get healthy with this holistic approach. It had such a huge impact that I actually left that comfy corporate position that he had helped me build to go equip and empower other women. And I've been doing that for the last 16 years. And over the next series, I'm going to share with you what even I was missing in the very beginning. The understanding of the foundation, the understanding of what helps women go from the diets where you're losing weight and gaining it back again, because nobody wants to be in that lost and found, sister, right? I'm going to share with you what truly is required for sustainable results. And once you see this principle, you cannot unsee it. Then I'm also going to break down the practical strategies. So once I break down the practical strategies, I'm going to tell you what the true pillars are. Spoiler alert, nutrition and workouts are part of the process. But can I tell you, what I've learned to be true is it's actually the tip of the iceberg. And I know you think that that sounds like crazy pants talk, but I'm going to show you exactly how that lays out and what to focus on instead. As long as you stick with this series, you'll have the blueprint all laid out. For today, I want to encourage you to be mindful of the fact that yes, you are called on purpose with unique and greater purpose. And you could be living the best of your success right now. You might be in an amazing high point in your career, in building your business, and yet you feel uncomfortable in your body. You feel like you're successful in all of these other ways, but why can't you figure this out? Maybe you've struggled your entire life, or maybe you've hit midlife, and all of a sudden the things that you used to do are no longer working. I've had both aspects of that in my story, my original transformation and then when perimenopause hit for me. And I can tell you, regardless of the season that you're in, the best is still ahead of you. You get to be a person that walks in the room and carries such energy and such confidence that you turn heads just because people know there's something different about you. You get to be the person that stands in front of other leaders. You are the leader of leaders, but you get to do so from a position of genuine, authentic vitality and confidence, rooted in not only knowing whose you are and who you are, but the power within you, because you feel lean in your body. You feel strong in your body. You know that you're doing your part to care for yourself in mind, body, and spirit. So as you continue to go through this next series, I encourage you to grab a pen and paper, journal it down. We're going to keep each segment short and to the point, and it will follow itself. So you can start at any point in the series, and also you can start from the beginning and go all the way through. And if you'd love to have everything in one spot, you're like, I love what I'm hearing, but I don't know if I want to, I don't want to miss anything. And I don't know if I'm going to keep up with the next, 8 segments or what have you. Then you can comment masterclass to join us for a free intensive where it's a 90-minute session. And I go through all of the Becoming Kingdom Fit blueprint that's going to teach you how to look and feel your best based on practical strategies for nutrition, practical hormone supporting habits that are going to support you feeling your best, being able to know how to train in midlife especially, and of course, being able to build the sustainable foundation that makes all of it possible. To not only be where you not only get the results, but become the woman that normalizes the habits, beliefs, and behaviors, so much so that they become as natural as brushing your teeth. So that when life does get busy or does get messy again, you never again abandon yourself. You never again backslide into old patterns, because you've identified the true foundation for being able to be the greatest expression of your God-given potential in mind, body, and spirit. So if you're new to the channel, make sure that you follow so that you can follow the series. If you want an intensive live with me, then comment masterclass for the next Becoming Kingdom Fit masterclass, and we'll deep dive into a 90-minute session to go through the entire series together and open Q&A. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.